This is Military Mondays with Dan and John.
Absolutely, and what I'm really excited about this show is not necessarily only the financial aspect, but we're going to be profiling a lot of great organizations around San Diego, a lot of great leaders in San Diego. We're hoping to bring on a lot of influential people to help veterans and their families, active duty military, really understand what's going on in the community and how they can get involved.
We've also got Tony Teravainen, who is got a great company. It's a great nonprofit organization called STEP. We're going to talk a little bit that more here in a few moments. Tony himself is a prior enlisted sailor. He was a submariner, did a couple of years on the electric boats underneath the water. He's got some phenomenal stories, personal friend of mine. So we're going to talk to him, and we're going to find out what STEP is all about, how it benefits our community, how it benefits our Marines, sailors, airmen, soldiers, and how we can help them out. So without further ado, Tony, welcome to the show.
How you doing, John? Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for coming on. We appreciate the opportunity to have you. Dan and I just want to kind of first tell our listeners what STEP is. And for all you guys out there, STEP is essentially a way for enlisted Marines, enlisted sailors, enlisted personnel to get grants if there's a economic shortfall. Dan and I were in the days of Navy and Marine Corps leave. There's a couple of other ones out there. It's a conundrum of red tape when you need to go and get money for anything. We've had Marines, there's a car wreck, their savings are depleted, now they can't pay their rent or they can't buy groceries. I remember giving my own Marines cash out of my pocket. Hey, this is a grant, just take it, go. This is money. You're my Marine, I love you, I take care of you. Because the system was so flawed. So that's kind of where STEP came from. Tony is the CEO of STEP, and obviously phenomenal things going on. So Dan, let's kind of break down, let's get Tony involved here and go through STEP.
Yeah, for the listeners, I think it's really important because there's two real elements to it, right? I mean, there's an element of relief for military members, but there's also an opportunity to get involved as well. So, Tony, so support the Enlisted Project. What is it about? Where did it come from? What are your goals with the program, and what can you tell our listeners about it?
Yeah, well, support the Enlisted Project. We've been around San Diego since 2005, and it's a 501c3 nonprofit based in Southern California. So we cover from Ventura County to the southern border. And really our mission is to provide financial grants to enlisted active duty service members, E1 through E6 focus, and then also on recently discharged veterans. We saw the need there. So,
yeah, Tony, so that's a great point. There's a lot of stuff supposedly in place for active duty members, but that was one of the things, when you and I sat down and talked the other day that really made me excited was, what happens to that guy who gets out and, he's been out for a month, he's got no job, and something happens. I think that's such a benefit, and that's why it really excited me when you and I talked. Talk a little bit about that. How long do they have to use STEP?
Yeah, at this point, we're looking at 12 months. So 12 months after a honorable discharge, they can still use our services. What these folks have working against them is, Southern California, very high cost of living.
Yes.
And then the second point really is they don't make a lot of money to begin with. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you're aware, but in Southern California, E4s and below, so that's the bottom 4 pay grades, even if they receive all their allowances,
yes,
they're still considered low income by HUD standards.
Almost poverty level, isn't it?
Right.
Correct.
I remember my wife and I, when we were in E5, we were still doing the WIC thing. There were still some big struggles with rent in San Diego. We still had the food locker that we used to go to.
That there's a fundamental problem there. Right. You think about that. These guys are out putting their lives on the line in Afghanistan, in Iraq, under the ocean, up in the air. They're defending our freedoms, and these guys are at poverty level. There's a huge, just fundamental problem with that.
Well, and that's why it's great to have these organizations that kind of step in.
Absolutely.
Pardon the pun, step in.
Yeah, pardon the pun there, step in.
And help out. I think that's really exciting. Also, I remember I was telling John earlier on the earlier segment, when I got out of the Marine Corps, my son was 2 months old, and our benefits were cut off like that, basically, because we went off TRICARE. And it was, luckily I just kind of got to it, and I went after. But there's a lot of people that get out that really you get a TAMS class or something. And that's it.
Joke.
You know, they send you off and you're done. And really the Marines getting out when I got out are a lot different than the Marines that are getting out now. You got a bunch of problems with PTSD. You got a bunch of problems with getting acclimated from coming back from multiple conflicts. I mean,
Dan, I can speak from my own knowledge or experience on this one. I came back, actually, this is funny, but 4 years ago today, I got back to Miramar, California from Afghanistan. My wife, pregnant at the time, we were days away from our first son. And I literally was out of the Marine Corps, there was still sand in my hair from Afghanistan, got back, and I was out of the Marine Corps within a month. Right. Really, talk about an adjustment. I was in a shower with a bag over my head showering, and I'm back in the United States starting a company. There's a lot of challenges out there.
Well, it's crazy because it's not, your story isn't uncommon. I mean, a lot of the Marines or a lot of the, service people getting out in San Diego, are in a really similar situation. It's not like your story is an anomaly. They're getting out and getting right back to it. So Tony, how did you get personally involved with STEP? And why did you get personally involved with STEP?
That's a good question. My life kind of parallels the STEP guys. It's really interesting. I was raised, my father was enlisted Air Force, so we traveled around the world. And he was, I think, electronics repair for the F-111s. So we got to go to all these exciting SAC bases all around the edge of the country, Minnesota, Michigan, upstate New York. And then we did a couple tours in England and worked through Europe. And all through there, I remember, it's just, times were tough. We lived in base housing when we could, but my mom worked at night. My dad usually had 2 jobs. He had a second job he'd do. And that's just the way things were. After high school, I went to college for a while and then played a little too much rugby and a little less schoolwork. And then I ended up in the Navy. And then, there I was going to sea with a bunch of people, just enlisted guys doing what we could. So I was lucky enough to get on submarines. And I remember a couple years there, we were at...
you said lucky enough to get on submarines.
That's the only way to do it.
Average age of the guys on a submarine. I mean, you've got a captain, some senior guys, but what do you think the average age is on one of those? Yeah,
it's no different than the military in the past. It's run by...
21.
It's run by the young kids. In fact, that was some of the jokes. I got to go through the nuclear power program and I ran the reactors on there.
19 years old.
We're sitting there in Norfolk. And they were, the public was concerned about the local nuclear reactor plant. And it was just, we were thinking they have no idea that there's 2 squadrons of submarines and 3 aircraft carriers with the reactors being run by a bunch of 21-year-olds.
But
haven't even turned 21 yet.
Some of the most amazing 21-year-olds in existence, man.
So
wow.
True.
So yeah, it's a crazy time. But I lived it there, and I wasn't married at the time. I had no family, no ties. But there was years we were 300 days at sea a year.
That's unbelievable.
Between weekly ops and deployments. It was a brutal schedule. And a lot of my friends did have families, and I saw it there. Lived it with them. Transferred out here to California. Saw the whole same thing again. And then I actually ended up going through a VA medical discharge as well. So I was kind of in that no man's land between when you're really in the military and you're halfway out of the military.
Tony, before you came on into the studio, we were just talking about how broken the VA medical system was and still is. I'm sure Shinseki the gentleman just got relieved, or he just resigned from it. So yeah, keep going. So you got out, medical discharge.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to get a job. Actually, through my TAP class, I worked my way into getting a manufacturing job.
And that was at Sony, if I'm not mistaken?
That was at Sony Electronics, right? We were making television tubes.
Yeah.
Back in the day, huh?
What's a television tube?
Exactly. Yeah, so that factory's closed, but we closed it in 2006. But through there, I saw that transition, and I kind of lived the whole thing.
Yeah, you lived it. You really did live it. I mean, what we're talking about, what this show is all about, is what you lived. So,
I got fortunate enough. I did 11 years of night school. Got a couple undergraduate degrees, a graduate degree from USD. I got a job with Booz Allen doing some consulting work. Booz Allen Hamilton. And while I was there, they're very community philanthropic based community partnerships, big division for that.
Yep.
And I saw a volunteer posting for somebody to come do strategic planning at a local nonprofit.
So, Tony, let me ask you a question. Booz Allen Hamilton, they work a lot of military consulting. Wouldn't you say that there's a lot of former military members who are employed at Booz Allen Hamilton?
Yes, I'd say that's true. I'd say a vast majority.
Did you see the same things you saw at Sony and when you were getting out? I mean, isn't it true there as well? Even people who've been out 5, 10, we still see military members and veterans who have challenges. Did you not see that at Booz as well?
Yeah, not as much. A lot of those people had already kind of gotten their life on track by then.
Yeah.
And we were doing basically government consulting. So we'd roll back into clients' office and help them work through some of their processes and such, yeah. So
they're a philanthropic organization. Right. You saw this.
And they supported me going down. And I set up some strategy planning sessions, and I worked with this group. And I volunteered for about 6 or 10 months, and then they had an opening on the board of directors, and they asked me to be on the board of directors. I was on the board for 4 years. I'm actually the chairman of the board now.
Nice.
And then we had a transition last Christmas, and our president left us, so I became interim president. And we did a CEO search, and finally the board looked at me and said, "Tony, aren't you looking for a new job anyway?"
There you go.
I said, "I'm not a nonprofit guy. I'm not a nonprofit guy." But then I thought about it for a while, and I said, this seems like it really fits. So,
well, when your heart's in it, I mean, it's easy. And Tony, from the day we met, I can definitely tell that your heart is in this, and this is something you believe in, and something all of us in this office, in this studio, believe in. So, Dan.
Well, I was going to say, how about some logistics? Logistically, what does a service member have to do and what kind of benefits or what kind of situations? How logistically does it work for a service member to get into it? Or how much longer do you have, John? 2 minutes. Oh, we got 2 minutes. So maybe we'll roll into the next segment and get into the full logistics. I want to ask you about kind of for the next segment. What a service member has to do, what kind of benefits are out there for service members, what the process is, and how they can get. Why don't we do that now? How can people get in contact?
The quick answer is go to our website. Everything's done through our website. So it's StepSocal, STEPSOCAL, StepSocal.org. 3 big buttons. One for apply for services, one to volunteer time and services, and another is for donations.
Perfect. So we'll dig into kind of how that works and everything. But www.stepsocal.org, STEPSOCAL.org.
All right, back here in a few. Thanks for tuning in on this Monday evening, Military Mondays, here to serve those who have served.
In today's real estate market, it's more important than ever to have a thorough home inspection to protect home buyers and the agents. The San Diego Real Estate Inspection Company conducts a state-of-the-art inspection of all the major components of a house. When you work with us, you'll receive a detailed computer-generated inspection report so you can get your questions answered quickly. We use the newest and best infrared thermal imaging with every inspection. This technology puts us head and shoulders above other inspection companies. We find problems that may easily go unnoticed by other inspectors. From the moment you contact us, you'll notice a higher level of service. From online scheduling to prompt, friendly staff, the San Diego Real Estate Inspection Company gets the job done right. And they're the only inspection company in San Diego to offer a guarantee of their work. As the largest inspection company in San Diego, you can count on us to give you the quality you want with the experience you can trust. Call today to set an appointment with one of our expert inspectors at 888-494-5150 or check us out online at sdinspect.com.
With John Reeves and Dan Lehman. Here in studio, we've got Alex Karajanidis, top VA producing lender in the county, and the head CEO of STEP, Support the Enlisted Project, Tony Teravainen. We're going to roll back into some other information that Tony's going to give to our listeners, to you guys out there tonight, and go from there. So go ahead, Dan.
Well, when we broke off, you were mentioning how to get involved and how to get more information at www.stepsocal.org. Again, it's www.stepsocal.org. Tony, so how about some examples of past recipients of the benefits? I mean, can you give some examples of what is out there for veterans, and what, if somebody wanted to contribute, what they'd be?
Yeah, good success story, and then how can we get our people plugged into this?
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of success stories. Last year, 2013, we touched just over 1,400 military family members, military and veterans.
That's amazing.
Our biggest gift that we give is food assistance. So we give away gift cards for the commissary and to Vaughn's for active duty and veterans, respectively. The number one dollar amount, though, is unfortunately housing.
Yeah.
Last year, we had 56 people that we kept in their houses.
Wow.
So it's about 10 people a month.
Wow.
Or 5 people a month. How's that work out?
Something like that.
Something like that.
56 people.
56 people.
I'm a lender, man. I need my calculator for everything. Don't ask me 2 plus 2 without my calculator.
And then a lot of car assists. So essentially what will happen is people will go to our website and they can apply right there. Everything's taken care of through the IT system. They apply 48 hours, 72 hours later, the client case manager will get back in touch with them, work out the details, and we'll have a lot of responses, everything wrapped up usually within 5 days for most cases.
Wow. So 56 people got to save their home, or didn't get evicted, or didn't get, a foreclosure notice. I mean, that in itself is incredible.
Well, you
1,400 families being helped. I mean,
we talk about the one thing we haven't even touched on is, we talked about the VA and the healthcare problems. We talked about some of the other problems in the VA and with mental health issues, but also that leads right into, and it's a pertinent topic with you in real estate, and Alex here in lending is keeping people in their homes.
Yeah,
the homeless
huge.
problem in San Diego is it's immense.
Well, you don't want to put a family out. I mean, I think that's why I
right.
love, I'm such a fan of Tony, who he is, his character, his team that he's put together, because not only are they're feeding, obviously I've had Marines who came to me and said, I don't have any food to feed my family. I need help. Like, whoa.
Well, Tony mentioned 1,400 active duty and veteran families.
1,400.
So I've got a list here: 188 food assists, 68 utility assists, 56 rent assists, keeping people in their homes, 51 auto payments in the face of repossession, 30 critical auto repairs with for primary family vehicles. So imagine getting your kids to school without a vehicle. 21
Or to
23
work.
What's that?
Or to work.
Or anything, right? 23 travel assists surrounding family bereavement, 21 auto insurance payments, 15 critical baby needs, 4 emergency dental procedures, 3 critical household appliance replacements, 1 optometry assist for a toddler. I mean,
it's incredible.
This is all 2013.
Just 2013.
Yeah, this is
So we're up that by about another 50% this year so far.
Wow, that's
we're at about $300,000.
I mean, think about a family being removed from their house. I mean, you've got kids. It's unbelievable what STEP has done and what they're going to continue to do.
Well, so they probably would assume they need help from us too, right? What can people get involved? I mean, I understand when they can go to the site, but what are the typical donations? Are there time donations? It's obviously money donations. What can people, listeners that want to help, do to support STEP and what they're doing?
Well, yeah, so our primary program is we give away the cash grants. These are grants that people don't have to pay back or anything. It's just free money, essentially, work through it. And then after that, we try to do cost offsetting programs. So we do a lot of baby diaper drives. One of the big things that we take care of is trying to support. It's about $50 a month for diapers. So we have several warehouses full of.
I'm laughing, Tony, because I have 3 children.
Exactly.
3, 2, and 1. Yeah. So
we give away a lot of diapers, a lot of baby clothes. We collect a lot of used baby clothes. We will also try to do a lot of morale programs where we get a lot of tickets donated to us. So we can pass those through. Any other donations that we receive, we make sure they get to the same client base. People will give us a lot of food, but we'll take that to the military pantries on base. So it gets to the same client. And furniture is the same way. People want to donate that.
Tony, I think that's, the biggest thing that I want to do for you and that I want our listeners to do now is to get involved with STEP. How can you out there listening help out a program that helps those who defend our shores, defends our skies? Tony, tell our people who are listening, how do they get involved? How do they give food? How do they give money? How do they give diapers? How do they give baby clothes?
Well, they can either do it, they can contact us. And one of the great things that happens is people will contact us and say, we want to set up a fundraiser. We would like to host a golf tournament and make you the beneficiary. We'd like to have a baby diaper drive. We would just like to have a food collection drive. We We're putting on a concert. We had one gentleman, a roofer from OSC, call us up and say, I have a surfing and bocce tournament every year up on the beach, and we'd like to make you the beneficiary. He said, how much money do you guys give out in a month? I said, about $40,000. He says, yeah, we'd like to be able to take care of a month worth of your services.
Wow, that's amazing.
So it's really finding ways to produce the valuable assets that these people can use that we can just transfer to them.
So there's a lot out there. There's a lot of our young Marines, young sailors, young airmen who need help. Like we said, they're below poverty level right now. And frankly, accidents happen. You get in a wreck. You don't have... There are people out there right now who need this help. How can you as a listener get involved? How can you help our nation's military, our nation's veterans? So,
yeah, I'd love to get involved with my team and help with volunteering, help with any events coming up the remainder of the year. So, again, we just go on the website and we get that information.
Yeah,
right. All the information's there.
StepSocal.org. That's step as in like on a ladder, StepSocal, SOCAL.org. Go to StepSocal.org now. Get involved. Help out our nation's veterans and nation's active duty military who are serving you guys daily.
So we're about wrapping up. Alex, any words of wisdom going out of the segment into the week?
Enjoy the summer coming up. Enjoy the World Cup soccer here in 2 weeks. I believe you're a soccer. I don't think John's a soccer fan.
Tony and I are rugby players. We like to tackle and not cry when we get tackled.
Oh, so you must not like football, man. I'm gonna make some people mad.
Must not be into the skill part of the sport that much. Get it?
I think rugby is a pretty high skill. You have to kick, you have to tackle, you have to run, jump. I don't know.
Hey, we weren't knocking rugby, man. I'm all for all sports, man. So John was wanting to hear a submarine story from you. We got to leave time for this.
Tony, when you sat in my office the other day, you told, obviously we don't need to divulge all the details of it, but it was such a great story. I would love to hear, and our listeners out there, tell us a little bit about what happened a couple of years back. Obviously the names and dates have been changed to protect the innocent.
Tony's getting nervous. You can't see him in the studio.
Someone's going to walk up to his door with a black suitcase and black glasses.
Knock, knock. Yeah.
So go ahead, Tony. Close this out, man.
So, yeah, I was involved with the, how did they word it? The only submarine collision with a Russian submarine ever admitted to by both governments.
All right, now I'm nervous.
Yeah. This is great.
Wow.
So yeah, the story is in this is the book Blind Man's Bluff covers it, where they talk about their espionage piece.
I ordered that book after you talked to me the other day, so
it's got the rundown. You can find some stuff on the internet. Internet's probably the best source for it. You can dig around. You can actually find a picture of the Sierra class that collided with us. And there's some pictures of the Baton Rouge. There's various stories, but it's rumored that neither boat really went to sea again after that. But both boats made it home safely.
Holy cow! All right. So
wow.
Typical submarine deployment underwater. How long is the how long is a stint underwater without breaking the service?
Well, you don't have to come up. You don't have to pull in anywhere. So you make your own air. You clean your own air. The only thing you're literally limited by is food. You make your own water. Everything else you can shoot out. But the longest we did was, it was that deployment, and I believe it was over 70 days without pulling in anywhere and getting off.
He's a fast attack boat, right?
You guys get beer days also? Is that, what was it, 3 months or something?
No, there's no beer days. Actually, it was funny because the Canadian boats would pull in Norfolk and they tie up outboard. You could stack submarines up on the pier. So they would all get a case of beer each. So before their employment, before they would leave, like the day before, they're all like bringing their fresh laundry and a case of beer on their shoulder, and they'd walk across our boat, and they'd get down on their boat and stake it up in the rafters.
Well, good times, and so
a little bit different Navy than we were. So. Well, obviously the story is very, very compelling. He was on a submarine that collided with a Russian submarine, and talk about tight tension. Golly, that's incredible. So,
well, hey, so we're about to wrap up, huh? So let's one more time. Step SoCal for a great organization helping enlisted people and 12 months out, right? Separated from the military,
yeah.
12 months out. if you need help, or if you want to help, if you're
you
a
want to
company,
get involved,
if you want to get involved, go throw a golf tournament. Who doesn't want to throw a golf tournament and support a great cause?
Definitely not a soccer tournament. So go to stepsocal.org. If you're looking to get help with a VA loan, head up mylenderalex.com. That's mylenderalex.com. Get your VA information, book a seminar, and let's learn how to do it. Thanks so much for joining us on Military Mondays. We are serving those who serve every day. Dan Lehman, John Reeves, signing off. Have a great night.
Have a great week.